One. All right, welcome back, guys. So in the last demo, I showed you a couple quick little techniques that you can start using to create thumbnails with. Okay, one of them was just using the selection tool and filling areas. Another one was zooming close into a drawing with a bunch of different lines on it. It's a much more experimental approach, and by doing that method, you just copy and paste. So this one here, and that one, and then this one here was all from that experimental method. Same one here, and I'm going to go into those a little bit later and paint on those because I get this question from students a lot, which is like, I don't know what to paint. What subject matter do I do next? So I'm going to try to help you along that path by giving you some cool brushes today and also some really cool presets, okay? So first thing I want to do, the first thing before we start talking about loading and uploading of brushes that you want to do is you want to create a folder on your desktop. And that's what I just did. It's called Phil's Backup, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save all the current brushes I have. To do that, I hit B, hit brush. Okay, I'm going to right click with my mouse. So when I pull up my brushes, I'm going to go over right here to the little gearbox. I'm going to select the gearbox and I'm going to say Save Brushes. And it's going to bring up my little window here. And on my desktop, I put a folder. I call it Phil's BU for my backup. So I'm going to go in there, and whenever I save brushes, a really, really important thing to do is to save your brush with the date on it so you remember which ones are new and which ones are older. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to put Phil's Main. Okay, and then I'm going to put, I always like to capitalize, by the way, too. It's easy to read. Phil's Main. And then I'm going to put today's date, which is 10/16. 10_16, and then I'm going to hit Save. Okay. The reason why you want to do this is as you load in some other brushes that I have for you guys today, if you keep appending those brushes, you end up with a giant brush file, and it's just too much. There's just too many brushes to work with. So it's a lot easier, in my opinion, if you just have brushes in separate folders and you remember what's what. Okay. So the next thing that I'm going to give you a folder of today is going to have a Photoshop file that's going to have this in it for you. Okay. And up on the very top here, it's going to have a black image with a lock on it. That way you can just paint on a layer underneath. You don't have to worry about trimming or doing any edging. So that way if you come over here and you turn on another layer, and if you start working here, and if I just start painting in here right now, see, I'm just painting underneath. I don't have to worry about trimming the edges, and it's a nice little convenient way to do this. There's another way to do it with a clipping mask, but I personally like working like this, because I can just come in here and just mock something up really quick, and then I can start developing sort of a thumbnail really fast. Okay? All right. Along with that file, another file that I'm going to give you is going to have this in it today. So let me just do this quick demo for you. Right? I'm going to have a series of black lines right here. Oops. Okay. I hate it when Photoshop does that. Here we go. So I'm going to give you some tool presets for the Smudge Tool. Some of you guys haven't used the Smudge Tool that much, and the Smudge Tool is really fantastic. It's great for working and doing thumbnails, okay? Now, to get to the Smudge Tool, if we come over here and we hold down, you might have the Blur Tool or the Sharpen Tool. Go to Smudge. And when you bring up the Smudge Tool, I have some presets that I'm going to give you. I'm going to show you how to load those presets, okay? When you have the Smudge Tool open, the default Smudge Tool in Photoshop sucks because it's basically, when you go to smudge, it uses a ton of computer memory and it lags the machine, and you get the pinwheel of death, and it creates a ton of problems, okay? When you have the Smudge Tool open, you can come up, and if you have really cool brushes, you can pull up a brush, and that brush is going to interact depending upon the strength ratio. So this brush is now going to interact. You see this? It's going to give me a different type of smudge effect. But this brush that I have is more of a texture brush. So if I come over here and look at some of the various, like look, if I take a soft brush, see what it does now to smudge? But it eats up a tremendous amount of time. So somebody went through, created a bunch of really fantastic smudge brushes, tool presets, and you know what? I don't know exactly who it is because I've received them now from 3 different artists. So 3 different artists online have the same brush presets, and they work fantastic. I'm going to give them to you, and this is what they're going to look like in your folder. I'm going to demo them for you in a second. I'm going to give you this folder today called Dart 136 Tonal Folder. In this folder, you're going to have a series of brushes from me. There's some buildings and trees, my main brushes, and then you're going to have more on buildings, cityscapes, trees, palm trees that are already defined as brushes that you can use inside your painting of your tonal studies, okay? Right underneath this right here, let me go back, is this right here. That's not a brush. Do you see that? Brush folders are ABRs at the end. If you have CS5, you will not be able to load my brushes or most of these brushes on your computer. I'm sorry, but some of those are not compatible with CS5. If you do a brush search for CS5, you'll be able to get a lot more. Okay? Here are the tool presets right there. They end with the abbreviation TPL. Okay? Those are different. Those aren't brushes. So I'm going to show you how to load those right now. This is what you want to do. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to delete mine really quick. Okay? And hold on. Or I'll just pretend I'm replacing them. So this is how I bring up my tool presets. This is what you want to do. A lot of people will go under B and they're like, I don't see the option to bring them in, Phil. What's going on? Well, you're under brush. There's a difference there. You have to go and pull up smudge first. So if I come down here and I click, make sure you're not on blur. Kelsey, you listening to this? Listen to this, okay? Because you're not paying any attention right now and I can see that. Okay, we're on blur, sharpen, go to smudge. You pull up smudge and then you come up here under smudge. Don't click on these options. You click on the little triangle next to smudge and it brings up the window and you hit the gearbox. When you hit the gearbox there, you're going to come down here and you're going to say load tool presets. Then you're going to go to that wonderful folder that I gave you. Okay, and what did I just call it? Start one fix tonal. And I'm going to click this right here, tonal presets. Boom. It loaded all these presets in for you now. I'm going to show you how wonderful these presets are. Okay, actually it did double. So yeah, I know, and now I want to undo. So actually that's what annoys me. So give me a second here. Let me just say replace and I'll go back and do it again. And now I don't have doubles, okay? So smudge nice, okay? Fantastic. And all of these presets have options under strength ratio. Look at how nice that smudge is. See that? And there's no drag, is there? The computer's not giving me the pinwheel of death right now. That's at 50%. I hit 0 on my keyboard, that's 100% smudge. If I hit 1, I'm at 10%. Okay? And it's barely affecting it. You see that? Go back to 50. Look at how nice of a smudge that is. Okay? That's really fantastic. Why that's so fantastic, I'll show you in a minute. When I do my lasso method of filling in shapes, I have a hard edge. But then I come over and if I click my hotkey for my smudge and go over it with one of my brushes, I lose that edge very quickly. It saves me a lot of time. That's just one. So everyone clicks here. Those are your brushes. You have to click the little triangle that's right next to the hand right there. Now look at this. Let's go up. Look at all these right here. Bristol blend. This blends in like a real brush. And there's more of a drag on this one. You'll notice. You see this? I'm at 50% strength. If I go to 100, okay, now you can see I'm getting that pinwheel of death a little bit. It's a different smudge. I don't like that one as much. Oops. Let's come back here. Go down. Directional blend. Okay. That one has sort of a different feel. Now look, these are brushes, so I can go like this. Look, I can enlarge the size of my brush. Okay, or excuse me, my smudge tool right now. See, and I can adjust the way it's smudging. Look at that. That's a totally different smudge than that right there. Okay, let's go back. Let's take a look at another one. A couple of the ones that I like are the ones that are down here. Pebble blend is a lot of fun. See that? It really makes, this is how you do ground really easily. And textures. You just take a dot of texture, you just rough on the ground real quick, and you come back and you just go like this. No delay right now. Look at that. It's working pretty fast. Great smudge option. Okay. Come back over here. Painterly blend. Ooh, fancy. Right? It has like a little rake right here. See that? Look at that. Awesome. Okay, I'm at 100% strength. Go to 50 right now. Look at the difference. It's just a little bit lighter if I go to 10. Let me see. When could I use this? If I photo blend into a painting, I could come back and use this to blend part of my photos into part of my paint and paint on top. Okay? So that's how you load those tool presets. Okay? They're going to be under there. I always have students that come back and they're like, Phil, I'm under the brush and I can't find it. That's because it's not under there. It's under the smudge tool. And if you can't see the smudge tool, it's because of the blur tool's on. Go to the smudge, pull that open. I don't paint too much on this machine here at school. I use my machine at home, but I have a hotkey set up for my smudge. So I just click C, which is my S is saved. So C is my smudge, okay? And then and I have C and B. So all the time I'll be painting with my brush, I hit C, and I already have a couple of those saved, and I just quickly change, and then boop, and I just smudge right on top of it. Saves me a ton of time, okay? All right.
This is the same preset as you found on digital brushes, right?
Yes, it's the same one that you found.
Yeah.
It's the same one Christina found 6 months ago, and it's the same one that my buddy found at grad school and showed me. Everyone finds the same brush presets from like 3 different artists. I have no idea where they came from, but all I know is that they're super awesome. Okay, so here, let me delete that real quick. Now, let's go back to brushes. Now we need to talk about replacing brushes. Okay, check this out. I have some standard brushes in here that I like that are just for basic painting, okay? But I have some that I already created that I'm going to give to you guys. Let me show you what they do. So to replace brushes, I'm going to come over here, I'm going to right click. Remember, the first thing I did is I backed up my brushes in that folder, so I have them there. If I replace them right now, they're gone. So to bring up my brushes, I bring up my little right click, I bring up my brush window, I click that gearbox. I'm going to come up here, I'm going to say replace brushes. I'm going to come back over here to that Dart folder that I made for you guys, right? Brushes from Phil, okay? And here, this is some I just gave you right here. Look, I'm going to click these open. Check it out. So I'm painting right now. Boom, building in the back, okay? See that? I'm painting again. I have a structure in the front. Boom, structure in the front. I have another type of structure. Boom. Awesome antenna in the background. So I can adjust these. Let's say I want to turn that little church into a factory right now. I put that on it. Come over here. I click. I put this guy on it. I can paint him across a little bit. Okay. I come back over here. I have a couple wide-shaped chimneys. I hate when I have to touch the canvas to get rid of it. There we go. And now if I scale that down, okay. All right, and if I come back in here, look. Ready? I have a shipyard. There's my shipyard right there. 3 brushes. Done. Okay. That would be in the back of my composition with some mountains around the front. There's my composition real quick. Okay. So let's do a couple others. There's a whole bunch in here. I got these from some different artists, and I've been compiling them together. Some of them do this, which is actually a little crazy. Some rotate a little. They have a preset on them. I like that sometimes because then I'm like, hey, if I do that, and then if I come in and do this with my lasso, hold on. I meant to just fill that with pure black. Deselect. And if I fill that up with pure black, and then I come back, you see how that starts to look like a structure? And then if I come back and do that right there, sort of on the side, and paint another structure up there, you see that? I start to make something that looks like it could be realistic. That could be a little space station on Mars. And then if I wanted to come back and click, but see, look, I don't have any of my painting brushes right here. Okay, so let me scroll down these, okay, and show you some more, all right, that are in there. So then, look, you have stuff you can put in the foreground like this. Oops, I'm going to go to 0. And get it pure black by clicking on it. There it goes. So what's cool about doing that is it's separate, right? So if I like that, I can go to transformation, and go to distort, and I can put it in perspective by doing that real quick on it. Okay? So the brushes are just a really fantastic way to work. Let me show you some more. So I created a whole bunch of brushes for some other elements too here. So give me a second here. I'm talking too much, not focusing. Let me show you some more of these because there's some other cool brushes in here. And then I'll show you some of the ones that I created. So real quick, I'm going to go to lasso, and let's just do this real fast. Okay, you're doing a painting and you want to have buildings in the background, right? So look, I'm just going to go here. Let's go to G. Got my bucket. I'm going to fill that. Okay, deselect. Let's go to marquee again. Let's put another one right here. G, fill that. Deselect. Okay, let's put another building right in here. Okay, let's fill that. Deselect. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to subtract a little bit off of this to make the buildings look a little different from each other. And then let's just say I came in here and, oops. Let me just fill the base in a little bit, something in here like this. Okay, G, fill, okay. Now, you have that silhouette in the back, right? So check this out. You come over to your brushes that I'm giving you today. If you go to brush, you scroll down, you have these right here. There's 5 variations of city lights, right? So if I grab city lights and I bring these over right now, and if I switch, okay, to white, and I can control right now, it's 100% opacity. If I go to 50%, let's go back to 100. And hold on a minute. I don't know why they're not showing. I have them on white. There we go. Maybe I just need to click it with my mouse. It's showing very light. But if I click a couple times with my mouse, you see how I have these city lights that imprint onto silhouette shapes. Okay, very quickly. Here's some other city lights. These are a little bit broader. So you see that? I instantly just created buildings in a backdrop further back in the sky just by coming over and doing this a couple times. I have buildings there. Okay? All right. I also, in my selection, I'm giving you something that I really like, and they're hard to share. I'm just kidding. They're fantastic leaves. So if you have, let's say I wanted to do a silhouette, and I want to have like a town surrounded by a whole bunch of old leaves and stuff, I'm giving you guys a bunch of presets that I have for leaves that do jungles and stuff like this really easily. So I could have this in the foreground like this. Yeah, so maybe this is like a city that's all, maybe it's a post-apocalyptic city that's all destroyed. So if I do this and I delete parts from the city like this and make it look old, I have a whole bunch of these brushes here. If you come back and look, I have sample, some of these, look, there's a leaf floating in the sky. For two, right? It's great brushes for that. I have wonky, I have much larger shaped brush leaves for the foreground. Again, you can adjust the value on these by pressing a little bit harder down. Okay, so I can do forests really quickly like this. See, I'm just dragging along. I can make the center of the vine like this, and then I could come back and add these on the end like that. You see how fast that is? And I have a viney forest. Okay, your brushes are key in part of your development. Okay, let me show you some other ones here. More foliage brushes. So some of these are the same brushes, but I have them on different presets. So if I go like this, I can speckle those along the ground or whatnot. Let me show you some other ones that are here. I have quite a bit in here. So then I like the sparse one. These are cool. Leaves are falling from the sky. See that? It's pretty cool. Gives you that effect like things are coming down. Okay. I have some ground brushes in here that are really fantastic. I always get that comment. Some students are like, how do I paint the ground? The ground texture is hard. It's because you got the wrong brushes. Okay, so check this out. This is a rock texture. You have to paint a ground plane real quick. You can paint rocks on my foreground like that. Come back a little softer, 30% grade. Paint a rock. Now I have a composition to paint off of. Okay, just really quick. I got this from Jason Slavin. He got this from somebody, I don't know who. He goes, it's the most awesomest ground texture brush ever. Especially if you do this. Here, let me show you real quick here. Let me switch colors. Let me get a light gray like this, okay? And let's say that I had a ground. There's my ground right there. Okay? I'm going to edit. I'm going to fill that real quick. There we go. Foreground color, deselect. I'm going to come in with my brush. I'm going to switch to a little bit blacker, darker color. So this brush has a pattern in it that makes like the feel of concrete or ground really easy. And if I press a little bit harder, see it picks up the spacing in it. And see that? I instantly have ground with texture on it that's moving back in perspective. Okay? So let's come back over here. Let's scroll down. So I gave you some of those stones. And then, don't ask me why, but I just did this. These are some shapes I created. So when I'm working on a backdrop building shapes, don't ask me why, but I take a picture of my boat. And I like the thought of if I have my boat like this. Hold on a minute. So that's just a boat, right? But what's cool about it is when I take that, and if I transform it like this, I can make like really cool building shapes and like other cool shapes with it. Okay, and then I made a whole bunch of other really, some different shapes down here like this. Some of these could like building tops, like you see this one, or if I want to make a shape with that really quick, like a space, like that could be a top of my building, and I could just come in here like this, and then I could come in here and I could paint something on top of that. Yes, it does that pattern effect, but see, I could use that to my advantage. I can make a base really quick, and then I could come back and there's different ship shapes here that I could use. See, and I can then come back and paint on. See how I'm doing this really quickly? I'm painting structures by using silhouette shapes of my brushes. So look, I have that. Say I want to have a ship up here that's flying. I just hit it a couple times, and I come back with a normal brush, and then, or what you can do is you can, if you shrink this brush down and drop the opacity, you can just come in here and paint really lightly. So if let's say I want to make like a little ship up here that's flying or something, then I could put thrusters on that, and then I have a ship shape up there that's flying around or something. Okay, really quickly. So they're cool brushes. Now those are the, and then what I did is I took a couple Maya models that I made. So when I really want to cheat, I can just do this. Paul's going to be, what? So I just do that, and I have my ship already in perspective. Okay, so I took Maya renders that I did of ships, and see, and if I go over them a couple more times, they get really dark, and then there's silhouettes. And then what's cool about using the silhouettes, all right, is it, oops, wrong key there. Having them as silhouettes, look, I can transfer them, and see how that makes a cool building somewhere in the back. I can tie that in there, and I can adjust it. I can go to distort. Right now, I can open up part of it. Okay, so they're really cool. I really like having that accessibility to quickly change with brushes. So I'm giving you a bunch of these. Look, I have all different types of ships. There's another ship. It's just the silhouette. Some of them are the ships themselves in Maya. So I can easily plug ship shapes in and make it look like there's a ship landing, there's people walking. That sets your scale. I talked about having ships in there. So now when you come to me and you go, I'm not sure what to do. Well, then you need to sit down and think about it. I'm giving you half the answers in the brushes. So if you have this base right here, I know the atmospheric perspective is off. Look, I could come in here and go, I have a ship in the background. I have another one that's flying there and another one here. Look, I have a bunch of ships coming in. Look, ships are invading, right? I did that really quick. It's simple. So I'm giving you all those, okay? Then in the folder, let's go replace brushes, right? Some of these I forget because they're from different artists. More cities and trees, okay? Click on these, and here's some buildings that I had from other art. Cityscape skylines, more cityscape brushes. Someone gave me this one, I don't know, ships, palm trees, trees. So I'm giving you a whole bunch of other brushes you can use. Let's try cityscape right here and see what's on there. Yeah, these are skylines. And I actually already incorporated some of these into my pack. Look at that. There's a whole skyline right there. And then you can paint over it. If you want to get touchy, you can do this. Hit shift and go, oops. Hold on. Take that, and if you have something mapped out, boom, look at that. In the background, I have a whole skyline. And now I could come back into that if I really wanted to get crafty. I could take my stamp tool, adjust my stamp setting to 200%. So if I go look under there, I'm at 100% now, which will mimic anything that I stamp. But if I come over here in my stamp setting and put this at 200, 200, now when I come over here and I take my stamp and I target that, if I put this in the foreground, see that? I can take that and double the size of it by stamping it, and then I could come back in and paint and make it look like I have larger buildings in my front and smaller buildings just by using the stamp tool. Okay? Let's go replace. Let's take a look at some of the other brushes. I haven't checked out these palm trees yet. Someone gave them to me. I don't know if they're any good. Let's see. Let's see in the front of my, yeah, look at that. There's one. They're a little too, they're more silhouetted. There's no interior detail on them. But once I get that in there, let's say I have a painting that I'm working on, right? Then I could come back to smudge, and if I have a definitive round end on there that I don't like, see, I can come in here really light, go to like 10%. I can go over this really fast like this. And I can just smudge them out. Those would just be tree shapes in my foreground right now. Okay? See how I can incorporate that? So what I'm going to do in a minute, I'll pause this because I've already been talking for like 25 minutes. I'm going to pause this and go back into my thumbnails and start working. Okay? But I gave you guys a slew of brushes I want you to experiment with. Pull them all up. Let's go again. Let's say replace brushes here. And I don't know what this one is. Ships. Oh, this is cool. I haven't even seen these. Check this out, guys. Boom. There's a ship going through a docking port in your sketch. Okay? Oh, sorry. There's his friend coming another way. Okay? Look, you see how I now have city buildings in the background? I have a ship and I have palm trees in the front. I could just paint a little lagoon in there and I'm done in a composition. These are pretty cool. I forgot who I got these from. Look, someone went to the painstaking effort to get all the ships. And if you click it 100%, it goes to pure silhouette. So that's pretty neat because it's a photo. And if I just sit like this, create quick compositions, I could do that. And then look, I can come back here and say, oh, but there's another ship that's going to be farther. Oh, this one's in the foreground, right? So let's make this ship much larger. And it's darker, it's in the foreground, right? I haven't done the water yet, but imagine the water's in there. And now I could come over here and say, oh, but I'm going to have a smaller ship somewhere. Oh, one's turning right here, going after that guy. And then let's have one in the background somewhere. Oh, that's another one. Here we go. See? I got a whole battle scene taking place. And all I'm doing is using brushes, right? So have fun with the compositions. Let me pause the recorder real quick, and I'm going to come back and paint, try to get about 4 or 5 more thumbnails going for you guys, okay? So I left off with, I did a couple at home real quick. Let me show you, or excuse me, at grad school. So oops, that's the key folder I opened for you. Here's my folder. So let me delete everything that's here. So here are the ones that I was working on. I did these real quick in class. And again, remember when I copied and pasted from the line drawing? I did that because that's just, like I said, that's a starting point where I look at that. I keep looking at this one and I see a jungle scene, okay, in there. But now I'm going to come in after I pause this. I'm going to start using some of my ships, you know, in some of my compositions here, or buildings, or whatever it is. Have fun with it. This, I was imagining a guy standing on a cliff, and I was going to do mountains in the background, but I didn't finish that. I ran out of time. Okay, so I'm going to pause. I'll come back, and I'll do some demos. Oh, look at that. If that's a broken ship there, right? Uh-oh. Danger, Will Robinson. Look. I got a ship in the background now. See that? Storytelling. Look, and there's another one back there, but he's smaller. He's much lighter. And maybe, let's see what I can put in the foreground. Oh, look, check this out. Now I have a great idea. I'm going to take this one, put it in the foreground, and blacken the heck out of it, like that. But it's on another layer, so then I can, hold on a minute. You can't see my whole screen. Let me just select what I painted. Let me go back to my marquee, select that, transform, tilt it like that. So it looks like it's crashed up on the rocks or something. And then I could go in there and paint some more information in there, okay? So if you want, really quick, after I pause this, bring your drives up to me and I'll give you all the brushes and the layouts and everything else that you can use. So then you'll have the tonal presets, numerous brushes, and then I'm going to come back and spend another half an hour, 45 minutes of the class recording another demo onto this with me just going back and painting, adding into the silhouettes, okay? All right, cool. All right, guys, welcome back. So we're going to do some tonal thumbnails right now off of the brushes that we just talked about a couple minutes ago and some of the smudge presets. So I'm going to show you one of the fastest ways I know to do a thumbnail as fast as possible. I'm going to try to time this and keep it under a certain time frame here. Try to get about maybe 10 minutes a thumbnail or so, maybe 5 minutes. First thing I'm going to do is I always like to come in and put a gradient, and so I always have a couple of tools sort of selected. Gradient's one that I use quite a bit, and this way I can just come in, I can do a quick sky like that, okay? Or if I want to do it the opposite way, I can just sort of go from dark to light. And what's cool is I can control it based off of the grade, like, you know, so if I do it, let's say something like this. Let's right up here, maybe get a little bit lighter. Okay, that's cool. Actually, I liked it much better like this. So that's all right. Let me change from back. I didn't realize it was on pure black. There we go. And let's go a little bit more white. All right, cool. So one of the things I like to do, I'd like to start with this right here. Have something to work with. Hold on, why am I not getting, there we go. I want something a little bit more white on the bottom. All right, that way as I work into this a little bit later, I can adjust, I can see clouds in there. I have something that's on there in terms of a sky. And what I'm going to do next, just really fast, is I'm just going to take my brush and I'm just going to block out a couple pieces of ground. So I have an idea of where the ground plane is. And then I'm going to come in with a couple different brushes that have shapes to them and start assigning. So I was imagining in my mind already that I have some type of structure like this. And if you look, if you want to do it like this, you just want to take a lasso and say, okay, that's going to be ground, that's going to be foreground, it's going to be a little bit darker, go for it. Take your brush, fill that shape up real quick. Okay, there, so that might be a little bit of my foreground area. And then I'm imagining in here I might have something that's, maybe I have like a ship up here on it, like a ledge that's sort of back in here like this. Okay, and I'm going to come in here, that's going to be a little bit lighter. And get in here real fast. I think what's important is to stay a little bit loose and rough and don't try to overthink what you're doing right now. Just get in here and have fun with it. Okay, let's go in here, throw something here in the foreground. I'm going to make that a lot darker. I can refine it a little bit later if I like. All right. If you have some hard edges that you don't like, or areas that you missed, paint over them real quick, add them in, okay? And what I'm going to do right now is I'm imagining like a walkway up here, maybe a ship or a structure back there. So real quick, I'm going to pull up my brushes. I brought a bunch together, and let me see if I can get a building structure that I can put in the back there, and then I can put a ship or two around it. So here I have, take this guy right here. See if I can get him in about right back here. One thing I noticed is my sky is still a little dark, so I'm going to come in here, and then, you know what, I should probably do it sooner than later. I'm going to lighten up my sky real quick, and then I'll come back to that. Here we go. Come back to that brush then. And where did I put those factory ones? I uploaded them really quick in here. There we go. So I have distant buildings in here. Let's start with this guy. Just going to print him in about there. All right, let's go to a darker value. Let's see, what am I at? 30%. There, so I just got that sort of silhouette shape right in there. Okay. And let's try to get some structures around that. Like the idea of that guy being in there. Let's paint another little, let's get this guy in here. Okay. What else do I want to put in there? That's a preset that's already on the brush, under the brush presets, and I like it like that because see, when it flips up, it might give me like a different type of structure that I wasn't thinking about before. And then that way, it allows me to see a couple little shapes, you know. See how that lightly goes in the back there? Now what I'm going to do, let me zoom in a little bit. I'm just going to get in there and then sort of unite some of that because it's not 100% value, so I'm going to go up to one of my painting brushes up on the top here, like this guy here, and then I'm going to put it at 100%, and then when I grab part of that value there, anything I paint down will be at 100, so I can sort of mass out that shape. come back with a little bit, have some shadow shapes in there. See what kind of cool structure I might sort of come up with. And you just, I don't know, there's no method. I feel weird. I hate talking when I do this, but I just like to get in and see what I end up with. You never know what you're going to end up developing, and there's no rules. You just got to dive into it. Because if there's something that I'm doing and I don't like, later on when I get back into it, thinking there's like an old wasted station or something out there. I don't know. Give it some light in a minute here. Let's see what I just did a minute ago. I was looking for one of those ships I have. I'm not sure if it's, yeah, here's a couple. Yeah. I've got a large ship shape here. Oops. Let's put a darker value. What am I timed at right now? Anyone? 3 minutes? No, I mean, how much time have I spent on this thumbnail?
Oh, I have no idea.
I'm only started recording at 9, so I don't think I'm too far ahead. So I'm picking a direction of light now. You know, I just throw in a couple shapes to see what's happening, and now I want light coming in this way. So I'm just hitting it with a real soft brush, bringing light across, and then that's going to define also a little bit more of the silhouette shape that might be in the back there. Okay, it's all right if you make something too dark. You can. That's the pushing and the pulling of the shapes, right? My goal is to just get this feel back here, and then make adjustments on it. And if there's something like I don't like how long it is now, so I might just come in here and take part of this like this, and copy and paste it, and just transform it. And I'm just going to squash it, maybe make it a little bit more like this right here. And then I'm just going to take my stamp tool. Whoa, look at that. That wasn't a happy accident. I put that right there. Let's not do that. Hold on a minute. Just going to sort of push some of this out right here. Stamp over it real fast. Okay. I like the idea there could be more mountain ranges coming back this way into the composition in the background, let's say. So with that done, let's pick a little bit, another value back there and sort of brush in our mountain range. Okay. Let's do another one in here. Another mountain range sort of in the back here. That one's going to be a little bit lighter, right? This is where you want to hit Control H all the time. So I'm going to hide that right now, and then I'm going to grab that lighter value. Look, and I'm looking at it as I'm doing it. See my ants? Control H. So I'm really paying attention to it. I'm watching it. See that? I don't want to overdo those mountains anymore. Why? Atmospheric perspective. I want them to be lighter. I don't want them to be as dark as the other ones. Okay, I want to keep it really light. So now, look at what, that's it. I can stop right here. I'm done. Boom. That's an 8-minute composition. Look at what I have. I have what could be a little city. I could develop that stuff later. I just have a starting point. I like the angle that's in here. So real quick, let me draw on top of this and tell you in terms of composition what it is that I have in here and why I bless you, and what I like. And this is what I like. Look at my composition. Look at what it's doing here. Oops, deselect brush. I have major tilts in it like this. So I'm dividing the composition up a little offset. Okay, that's important. If you keep your horizon line centered all the time, it's going to be incredibly boring, right? So I start putting things at lines. The other thing that I like, I took one of my ship shapes. Look, I have that large ship shape here in the front. I have a smaller version, medium size, and then smaller. So I've indicated transfer of scale now, okay, in there. I like that as well. Okay, so let's say I wanted to put something else in this thumbnail. I like that scale idea. What if I want to put a large structure that's dark in the front with maybe somebody standing on it? So let's do that really quick. Let me come back to my brush. Let's scroll down. In some of the industrial brushes that I gave you, you have, here, let me show you real quick. Problem is I merged all my brushes together real quick for the demo, and I don't remember where they all are now. That's why I get used to what I have. I should have grabbed the ones off my laptop that have them just the way I like them. So here, let me grab the structure right here. So look, right here in the foreground, I'm just going to come in here, not with red though. Let's go to, there we go. I never go pure black. I like to go like a darker gray. Don't go pure black. Pure black's a no-no. Okay? So look, I'm going to put this right here in the front, like that. Now that, I want to go a little bit darker than that, because I have dark mountains that are already there. There. See that? Now I have that in the front. So now what I can do with that color already selected with my lasso, I have an idea where my horizon line is in here. I could come in here really quick and do something like this for scale. I can put like what might be a platform like this in here. Okay. Like that. And then I can put like a little sketch of a couple guys standing right here. Maybe they're looking over there. Maybe there's a cover part to that platform, something like that. Hit H to hide that. Go back, pull up the painting brush real fast. Okay. And right here. And then I'm going to come in here. And look at what happens when I start painting on that. Real quick. See how those guys sort of come out? And that whole little set there develops. Okay. What I don't like now is the placement. I have that running right into a huge tangency, which I didn't see when I selected it. So here, let me just go Command Z a couple steps. H, I have the selection still there. So now I can move that. Uh-oh.
Make sure you're on a new layer.
Yeah, new layer. Thank you, Maddie. There you go. And I'll go up to another new layer. And now I'm going to just put this in here really quick. Brush, okay? Like that. Actually, that was way too dark. A little bit lighter. Something like that. And now if I deselect it, see, I can move it, and I could get it to be where I want it to be. So I might decide I want that to be a little bit lower, like down there a little bit, let's say. couple, oh man. There, I'm going to merge that real quick. Okay, merge that all together. That's my thumbnail. I'm done. Time to go to the next thumbnail. Okay, I can go into it and work on it later. I like to let my eyes refresh a little bit because I see something that I really like, and then I can go in and modify it a little bit. Like, I don't like this right here. It's too graphic, but I could get in there a little bit, okay, a little bit later and address it real quick. I did have an idea, though. If I take part of that ship and replicate that shape, let me go back to my ships down there. Where'd they go? Then we'll do a jungle thumbnail real quick. Gosh, there's just so many, gosh darn good. A couple of these shapes, I just really, look at this shape. It's so interesting. Yeah. This is where we make robots. Come on, go back. Look at that. See, I like that a lot more. It's more industrial now in the foreground there. Okay. And where was I? There was my pampers. There it is. I'm going to see a base of some kind if those guys are standing there. There might be a little, I like putting antennas in like this on little edges. Just overlap some other shapes. Okay, that's it. Boom, that thumbnail's done. Okay, no more messing with it. Comprise it, let's go to another one here. That was happy accidents down there. That was me stamping something by accident, so I'm just going to delete it. Okay, I have that selected. Let me go to a lighter value here. I don't always use the, I mean, you can use the gradient tool if you like. I just, sometimes it's just, you get into this mood. This is what I hate talking about doing demos. Whenever I do demos and talk at the same time, I lose part of my energy. So look, I'm just going to take a gray right now, and then I'm just going to lightly go across. I'm going to drop the value down to like 10, and just paint something in like this. Okay. 20 maybe. And then I'm going to come back here. A little bit more on there. And sometimes up front, if I know the direction that I want light to be coming in, like in this case, I want light to be coming from the left here. So I'm just going to put some strokes across like this to make it look like light's coming in from one particular view. Okay, now let's just rough in. I like to leave, personal preference here, I like to leave this separate. It's on the back layer. And then I like to paint on top of it. So if I have any adjustments I want to do for clouds or anything, it's right here underneath, and I can do it really quick. Ignore that top thumbnail. See? It's all on one layer. That way I can adjust it. So now I'm going to jump to just one other layer. Don't be painting on 5 layers. If you do that, I'm going to shoot you. You don't need 5 layers. That's way, way too many layers. You're overcomplicating it. Okay, let's go back to brush here. So we're this time we're aiming for something jungle, right? We said that. So we're going to talk about a cool structure. So let me block in with this brush now. Okay, deselect. All right, cool. Wrong color. There we go. Let's see how fast we can get a jungle comp out here. Something like that. I'm imagining a hillside, maybe like something like that. Let's try a little bit lighter coming in here. I like sloping compositions. I think they're a lot of fun. Okay. There we go. Now, I haven't talked about biggest area of contrast. I'll do that a little bit later. But when I'm working in my thumbnails, I am thinking about where my symbolic read is going to be and where that biggest area of visual contrast is. But sometimes you just figure out your shapes first. Okay, now check this out. Now to do this real quick, remember those leaf brushes that I showed you? Let me find where they are in here. Where did I put them all? There we go. Once I find a couple, I have a bunch there that I could use. Okay. And so these scatter automatically. Do you see how nice that is? That they're rotating for me. I don't have to do it. Okay. And change brushes, you have plenty of them, right? Don't do the same brush like 30 times. Here are some that are a little bit smaller, more detailed. Might be the back side of that. Coming in. Okay. We'll do that a little bit later. Let's put a structure back there real quick. Here's my falling leaf. Little leaves on the ground. I'm thinking there's a hill back here like this up high, and there's like a really cool structure up on this. Okay, actually let me just add that part in. Okay, and go to Control H, hide that. And what I'm going to do, I want to get a little bit darker value there. Let's go back to another brush. And see that? I have my selection in there. I'm just lightly painting on it. You see how I did that really quick? It's just a mass selection. I don't want to go any darker than that. Look, if I hit Control H, see my selection? My selection is my friend. Okay, because now with it hidden, I have a better idea of the values. Look, and I can even make the value now. I can't talk. Now go a little bit darker from light up to top like that. Just have a little bit of a, so there's still atmospheric perspective happening, but just by adding that in there. And if I want, I could even swab that color that's right there, because now I'm going to come put a structure on top of that and try to get some light coming through. And then I'll address what's up in here, and maybe I'll have some people walking through a forest or something. So one of the structures I gave you that I think I modified one and was like a church building or whatever. See, if I had more time, wouldn't it be cool to go through and make like civilization structures? Like when you look at the Incans, the Mayans, you look at the oh gosh, the giant church in Turkey, one of the 7 1. What's it called? Hagia Sophia. And you look at the architecture of that, and there's even some really fantastic structures that are from Islamic cultures and backgrounds. And if you incorporate some of those together, you can stamp those into your own brushes, and you really start to come up with some really fantastic, simple. Okay, let me find my. Sorry, guys. I just added all the brushes into one. This is why I never work like this at home, but for the demo, thought it'd be fine to find it. See, you just move too fast. All right, what do I do with the structure brushes? Come on, Phil. Oh, I forgot I got moon brushes on there too. I think I gave you guys those as well. Clouds. There they are. Oh no, those aren't them. Gosh darn it. Hold on, I need to pause. Resume. Alright, sorry about that. So I was trying to look. I'm going to do this particular stamp with this on another layer for a reason. Because it's going to be in the back, and then I'm going to transform it up and add to it. So watch. I already have that color selected. So it's in the back here. I put it on a separate layer. Okay, let's go back to brush here. And, oh yeah, deselect. So see this? I'm just going to stamp that shape up there. And then what I'm going to do is I can transform it real quick. See, and I can go like this and make it look like a castle really quick like that. Okay, and then once I get that there, maybe I might come over here and let me just select part of it like this. Copy, paste. And then I'm going to bring that down and transform that down a little bit. And maybe make it sort of pop out a little bit on the side, sort of like this. Okay? Just like that. Just stay simple. Doesn't have to be complex right now. Okay? There, it's one. Here, I might even duplicate it again. I want to make it fully opaque. Okay? So it's a little dark, right? That's easy. It's on a separate layer. Go to levels real quick. I can just lighten it up a little bit, get it to sort of blend in there. Okay? Now that I have that back there, it's still a little bit, but I'm going to lighten it up in a minute just by going over it. So what I like about what I just did is I'm already seeing some cool patterns, imagining this sort of hillside with that structure on there. So let me come back in here and grab one of these darker values. And this is what I was going to do. Light was coming from one side, right? So now I could come in here and I could complement that a couple ways. I could use my brush, or watch what I do with the lasso real quick. I'm going to come around here and pretend there's like a pathway. Maybe there's like a little arch or wall or something here. There's like a bump on that side. There's something here. And then it comes back up over here like this. If I hit H, take my brush now and go over that. See, it sort of just added a little walkway entrance right in there. And then I could come back in here, go over that a little bit more. That's really cool because it defines something very fast for me. Okay, deselect. Let's go to lasso. I want a couple verticals in there. I'm going to take my brush at 100% here. And I just want another vertical on that end, sort of holding things together. Maybe they need to anchor that part down. I want to bring that down. So I don't want to have a 90. 90s are bad, right? No distinct 90s in there. Okay, so there I have a cool little structure now in the back there behind. Okay, so now I want to lighten up. Remember how I did? This is the huge benefit of me doing this in the background. So let me compress my layers here so you can see what I have. That's all on one top, but look at my background. My background is the gradient of the sky. So now I could come back onto that and I could switch to a white and I can get my fuzzy brush that I gave you guys. And if I come back, oops, with that right now, I can put some, hold on a minute. Why is it giving me deselect brush? There it goes. I must have grabbed something else. I'm talking and painting. So now I can come in here. See this? I can get some more white coming behind the trees right there. Do you see that? Just really lightly. I'm going to get a stroke of white or two coming through this way and get some more light to pop in there. Now the thing is I'm doing that, I still have a really crisp edge around my shadow. So what I want to do now is just commit to this, but before I do, I'm going to do a little trick and put some clouds back there. And then I'm gonna paint a little bit of white once it's merged to create a little bit more atmospheric perspective on that back castle structure. So to do that really quick, okay, actually I thought of a couple things. Let me show you this. I have a moon brush. Okay, this is on, let's say this is another planet here. We'll do a moon brush, we'll do the clouds. Okay, let me come back up here, guys, sorry. So there's my moon. So let's check that out. There's a moon right there. Oh, that's huge. Let's try another moon. That's better. And I'm going to get that. I have that. Actually, it's like a little bit. It's going about there. I'm going to see if I can't drop that in about there, sort of in the back. Behind all that, I'm on the back layer, right? So if I just start with about 30. There, I might leave that like that. Maybe there's another one back here. I don't know. Why not? Okay, something like that. And then let's grab a couple clouds. My cloud brush I have. Shadow, there it is, cloud tree. Okay. I'm going to paint a couple clouds in the back here by this. So I have my white selected. And I'm just going to sort of take my brush here. And I like this cloud brush because I just dab it a couple times and it gives me the feel of these light, soft, cloud-like shapes behind the structure. Okay. That's it, nothing fancy, just like that. Okay. A little bit of atmosphere. And then I'm just going to combine these, commit to it. And then I come back with my soft brush. I'm going to blend some of these edges together so it's not so crisp. All right, and I'm just going to go over this right here on the left. See this? I'm lightly going over it right now, and it's fading that back a little bit. It's pushing that shape, even some of that back in there. Okay, that's it. Just leave it like that, nothing more. And then I might come back up here and push up a couple of my values in the front here a little bit. Let's go back to another tree or leaf. Okay, just get some shrubbery like that. in there. Okay, so I have a castle in the back, a little bit of highlights going. Let's scale it now. Okay, I don't have anything in there for scale. So let's just, I'm going to come back here to a general paintbrush. I don't know what to do. Let's, what if I put something goofy, like put a couple characters I've been drawing on my sketchbook. Have like a big round guy here, maybe with an arm, and then he's here with sort of this taller kid or something. I don't know. Backpack, something like that. Hide, go to brush. Let's grab a darker value. There, put them in there real quick, just like that. Okay. And I didn't do this in here, but a really cool thing to add to part of your drawing is little textures. So if I want to get the eye to look back here, watch. I'm going to select this little area right in here. Okay, do you see that selected? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my texture brushes, and I have them labeled for you guys. If I come back in here and take like, there's a heavy texture. How did I get snowflakes? Added in too many brushes here. Sorry. All my brushes are mixed up now. Let's just do this right here. Let's come in here with highlight. There we go, heavy texture. This is from Shadi Sadafi. I probably screw up his name, but got some of those brushes from him. So look, I'm going to come here like 20%. I'm just going to touch little areas here, hit hide. Just going to drag this across. And it just creates a little bit of, like, might look like ground transferring back there a little bit. That's it, nothing fancy. Okay, deselect. I might come in and put a little bit of highlights on a couple little edges here. Imagine that road sort of coming down this way. Maybe it wraps back around, then comes through here like this. And then it somehow gets back in here a little bit more, let's say. Like that. H. Okay. And we'll do a little bit more scale. Okay. Change brushes. Hold on a minute, I'm not getting what I want. And let me just make sure. Maybe the brush. Go. Okay. Getting some little highlights just on the edge right there. Do you see that? Just in the back there. I'm going to come back. That's going to bring up a little bit more up here. That trail that's coming down around. Okay. That's it. And I haven't even gone into this yet and smudged it all, but I have a base composition to work off of right now. And so anything else that's going to be in here, if, you know, I still want to darken up a couple of these values in the front here, because this is sort of see-through. So if I just come into this guy real quick and hit a couple dark value selections. Little parts of the tree, there might be maybe a little branch or two in there. So I did that pretty quickly, right? It's about 10 minutes in there. Okay, but I have a composition to work from. A couple characters emerging from a forest coming up to the magic castle. Okay, there's something there that I can develop. So, you know, have fun. If, you know, between this one, I had a couple ships coming, a docking thing in the front, and now here I have a couple characters walking through, okay? Take a look at your thumbnails, and if you see yourself doing the same repetition and pattern, like, Phil, all my horizon lines are flat across, you know? That's where I think it's beneficial when I did this other batch here, you know? I think that's where it's great to grab something like that. That was that close-up of the line drawing, because now I can get into that composition. In fact, let me work on that one for a couple minutes here, and then we'll wrap up the demo. If I get into this right here, I have a totally different starting point than anything I ever thought of. So now I'm going to have to look at this and think to myself, like, hey, maybe I have branches coming through here. I have a huge hill. Maybe I have something here. Say I have something coming down this way, and then I might counter angle it and have something else go the other way in a minute. So if I have a huge angle coming down this way with somebody standing in shrubbery, I might find another way to get back here and counter angle some of this behind all this. And again, if I paint over that, that's no big deal. I can just come back into it really quickly, right? And just copy and paste and put some other branches back over it. Okay. I always like pointy trees for some reason and little logs. I don't know why. There we go. Let's take a tree brush real quick. Okay. And where'd my leaves go? Here they go. Samples. This is what happens when you load up all of your brushes at one time. There they are. Leaves, sparse leaves, thick leaves, fallen leaves. Past there. Let's get some thicker leaves in there. Okay. That's the same one I think I just had. I like the fallen leaves a lot. Leaves are so pretty, they fall. Okay, and let's come back. I want to get a direction of light, which I don't have in there yet. Coming through some side, coming a little bit lower. Okay. Back up to the top here. So the direction of light is key. It's going to tell me a lot about my time of day and what's sort of happening. Now, here's something I've done this before. If you want to get a cool tree effect, take your lasso and select, think about positive and negative shapes that might be coming through part of a tree, like this. Okay. And then just subtract out what you're imagining where your light would be. And then once you get that area selected really quick, hold on a minute, almost done. It's just taking me a couple minutes here. See that? Nothing fancy. There. So let's say that's going to be part of my, let's get the foreground element in here too. Okay, cool. So I have that, hit Control H now, and now by taking my brush, I have that pattern in there. So now I can just lightly come back with my brush and see, I'm just going to hit it like I'm at 1% right now, and that's going to create an instant flow of light coming into my scene. And then if I have light coming in this way, and it's a little bit brighter, then I could come back and say, okay, it's going to hit the ground plane right here, and I have that all selected with my ants already. Okay? Deselect, and I might come in here and think about having some little bits or highlights or texture of some kind. I can just go to levels real quick. Lighten it up just a teeny bit. Okay. And so you see I have a composition that's happening already. Now I just need to introduce a couple characters into it. So let's say here, let's get something four-legged. I don't know. Maybe it's got Something like this. And he's looking back over here. He's got tusks on him. It's like a boar or something. Okay. Thanks. Get him blocked in. He's going to have some light hitting parts of him. And then back here, there's a couple little kids standing or something. Okay. A little bit harder to read. There. Still doesn't really look like kids yet, but anyway, you can keep going into it, but you get the point, right? I have a new composition to build off of, and try to limit yourself, try to keep yourself down to, I mean, I started, it wasn't even that. Try to keep yourself into these, you know, little 5-minute, 10-minute windows. You have to, it's so easy to get caught up into the composition. Do that later. Come back and look at them, and then pick the ones that you like. And then when you see the ones that you're really starting to like, that are developing into something else, come back and then we'll pick those top 3 and we'll expand off of that. Okay? All right, let's wrap this up because I know I've been talking for a while. So thanks, guys.